Hi, if you enjoy this clip, please visit my YouTube channel, Russ's One Idea Podcast. Peace out.
I'm here today with Nick Chapman. 7-3 in MMA. Fuck Sherdog, they always get it wrong.
Yeah.
The
Talk to me
busiest
about
rep in combat sports at the moment. And just trying to get something off the ground with helping fighters get sponsorship and building a brand. Should we start with that?
Whatever you like. Well, actually, if you don't mind, let's start with Sherdog. I've got a bone to pick with there, but I've been picking it for years. I've got 3 wins, and one of them was a title fight that they just refused to acknowledge, and it drives me mad. We sent the emails. I've sat with the promoter of the events, and they just will not do it. And it drives me mad a bit because they're becoming quite important within the industry, and I'm seeing many fighters having the same problem, and it's not fair. It's not fair. It's causing issues for them. I mean, I'm retired now, so it doesn't really matter so much, but yeah, I've got a bee in my bonnet about Sherdog.
Tapology is the same. That gives you 5 and 3 as well. So
Will, they're the same.
When I was chatting to Will Chope, he had the same. He's like, no, I'm so whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. They miss a few fights off here and there, don't
they? Yeah. I mean, as I say, I've sent emails, countless emails. I've sat in the promoters. We've sent all the information they've asked for, and they just refuse, which is wrong, really. But never mind. That's it's not so much of a concern for me these days because I've stopped fighting. But yeah.
So, Jason Burnworth was telling me about you, and he said, like, before you came up with this, or before I seen the get sponsorship thing that you're doing, and he was saying I should speak to you because you just were great at getting sponsorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, you're better than anybody else. You went and you sold yourself, and instead of going, oh, I'm a fighter, you should come and just give me some money. You know what I mean? You told them what they were getting.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you want to talk about that with what you're trying to set up, but if we could chat about that, that'd be great.
I'd love to. Now, first of all, I want to say Jason is an absolute diamond. That man gave me opportunity in Thailand, and he's become an amazing friend to me since. So I can't speak highly enough about that guy. I love him. But yeah, so working with Jason at Fairtex for well over a year, we started to get to know each other better, and he just obviously gets to know a bit more about me and started understanding how I was managing myself as a fighter. I think he was quite impressed by it. There's a lot of things about Jason that impressed me. I loved his, he's actually a lot smarter than he looks, which is good. But yeah, he got me into the whole online side of things. I've always been quite savvy with computers, but speaking to Jason, it inspired me to get up early in the morning, 2 o'clock every day. And I studied for 3 years so hard. I taught myself how to really work my way around the internet, and it's an amazing place. It really is. So that kind of then moved me on to thinking, okay, well, I've got all these new skills and these new understandings of the internet. What can I do with it? So naturally, you know, if I look back at my career as a fighter, I did okay. I started very late in my life. I was only active for about 6 years because I got old, but I did okay, and I did okay for my age and the amount of time I had for training. So, but the one thing I did better than anybody. And I mean, really, hang on, my phone's ringing. I mean, really, the one thing that I've never seen anyone do as well as myself, and I don't mean to sound big-headed or arrogant at all, because that's absolutely not the case. But I managed to source sponsorships. I managed to get attention around myself. I managed to get interviews, and I managed to get all this hype, which, you know, it helped me earn money. It helped me earn a lot of money. And I see these fighters today, and so many guys are saying to me, like, how did you do it? And you know, I'm a great fighter, but I haven't got anywhere near the momentum that you managed to generate. And it got me thinking, like, I should really do something about that. So I've spent months and months and months writing this entire course, and it'll be an online program. It's going to be out in about 6 to 8 weeks. And it basically walks fighters, fight managers, gym owners, or anyone that wants to get sponsorships or help a fighter build a brand. It walks them through every step necessary. I provide them with templates, checklists, cheat sheets, a full proposal at the end of the course, and even an automation tool to show them how to target up to 14,000 potential sponsors per month. I mean, the course is amazing. So I'm quite excited about that.
So how's that going to work, the course? So is that going to be, it's an online thing, yeah?
Yeah, so basically, I'm just in the process of building the website now, and it's a very well structured course. It goes through about 15 different modules from start to finish, step by step process. So you basically log into the system. There's 3 packages available. It's obviously not for free because I've got some overheads to put it up, but I'm doing it as cheap as I can because I want to help the fighters. It's something that I think that they need. So I'm doing the best price I can. But it's still a massive value. I mean, I'm giving away a free website, free hosting for 1 year, free domain, free SS certificate. I mean, I'm giving away so much. But they basically join up, they pick the package they want, and they get started. They can do it in their own time. They don't have to smash it out in a week. They can spend 6 to 8 weeks working through it piece by piece and start implementing some of the strategies straight away. Or they could just go into it and get it done as quick as they want. But it's kind of designed for fighters, so it's written in a way that they'll understand. It's not technical jargon that I've seen in other similar type of courses for other industries. So yeah, I mean, I was a fighter. I know exactly how to communicate to these guys and give them what they need.
So how did you do it without taking away from your course? I understand it's a bit to talk about it, but tell us. All right, probably an easier question is: you've got a lot of sponsorship. What are we looking at? How much did you get? Things like that. You willing to talk about that?
Oh, mate, I'll talk to you about absolutely anything. As I say, this whole program is for fighters. It's not, I'm not going to keep things hidden. I'm happy to tell you anything you want to know. So by all means, bro, fire away with the questions and I'll answer them. Okay, so to go into, do you want to ask? Yeah, go on, you start. Fire me a question.
No, you were going to answer that question. Now I was just going to.
I was, yeah. So I'll answer the. Sorry, there's a delay here. I'll answer the first question. So the first question is, how did I do it?
Yep.
Right. So the thing with me is, I guess first appearances aren't always so much the full story, especially with me. I'm absolutely obsessed with learning, okay? Study. I spent my entire life at college, university, and even whilst doing courses, been doing home study courses and online courses. I absolutely love to learn. People don't believe me when I say this, but I wake up at 2 o'clock every morning without fail, and I study right through to 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Then I go to the gym, and then I start my day. And I do it every single day. So over years, I've studied business studies, branding, graphic design, marketing, all this stuff. So, okay, I kind of had a head start when I started fighting. The minute I started fighting, I created a brand around myself. I had a website, I had a name, I had a theme running through my whole persona, if you like. So I had a head start. A lot of fighters don't have that acumen, but that's kind of where I come in. So all I did was used my business acumen and my branding knowledge to create a brand that people wanted to buy into. And what's fascinating about my course is that people say, if I'm an amateur fighter, I've only had one fight, I can't get sponsored. Rubbish, dude. I got sponsored before my first fight. I never even put my foot inside a cage, not even in training. And I walked into the cage with £1,000 sponsorship. So going on to your next question, which was like, how much did I over the course of a 5-year, 6-year period, I single-handedly and successfully negotiated well over £250,000 of sponsorship for myself. I had big names like Hammer Strength and Life Fitness, Under Armour as one. That sponsorship actually fell through due to some travel restrictions I had at the time, which was a shame because they really were good and keen to press on. But Muscle and Fitness magazine, I was on the front page of that. I had primetime, very small but primetime TV exposure, and yeah, I mean my sponsorships are extensive.
So that is a lot without, for a fighter that's started late and had a short amount of fights in a short amount of time, well, quite a few fights in a short amount of time, that's a hell of a lot of money, isn't it, really, considering that it's not UFC level on TV and things like that. And I bet you there's fighters who are in those events that aren't getting that sort of sponsorship.
Exactly my point, bro. And do you know what? I'm glad you identified that. So this is exactly what I'm trying to say. Now, fighters, you ask a lot of them, the first thing they'll answer when you say, why do you fight? They'll tell you because they love to fight. Great. Because if you don't love to fight, you're in the wrong job. Okay. Because no money in the world can pay you enough to take that kind of punishment on a daily basis. You have to love it. So that's the first question. The second response that they give you is, money. A lot of them need money, especially if they're a fighter, they're in the game. That's their job. They've got to earn money. And then I say to them, so how are you generating money? And they're like, well, my fight fees and I got a job on the side. I'm like, wow. So put it this way. I fought on Ultimate Challenge one time, and my fight purse was £1,000, £1,000. That night, I made £24,000, and it was all mostly from sponsorships.
Wow.
So you shouldn't ever be relying on sponsorships to make money in this sport, because it's not going to happen. Fight purses, because you're never going to make money on fight purses. No matter what level you're at, whether you're an amateur level fighter getting paid £200 for the evening, or if you're a UFC guy on 50, 60 plus £1,000, you should still be generating more in sponsorships. And even with the UFC guys that can't display sponsors on their clothing, it can happen outside of the cage. There's so much they can be doing to generate income. And you should never be relying on your fight purses, because you're just never going to make the money doing that.
No, because I was talking to Mark Godbeard, and he broke down what he got on his fight when he had the loss.
Yeah.
He only made a couple of grand. So that was fighting in the UFC, which is the biggest promotion, you know what I mean? And after this fight and everything, you food, and you're paying everybody, he made a couple of grand. So, you know, if that's all you're doing fighting in the UFC, then you need sponsorship, don't you? That's...
Absolutely, bro. And, you know, Mark is a good example. I love Mark. He's a very, very good friend of mine. I was in his corner at UFC London. And you know what? He said the same to me. He said, this is the thing, you know, people think UFC and, you know, but they don't realise there's the taxes, there's the agents' fees, there's so much other stuff he's got to pay out. And he literally said to himself, like, and he's quite smart, Mark, and I love him for this, but he said, you know what? I can do better if I'm not in the UFC. And he took the conscious decision to say, you know what? I'm not going to fight in the UFC anymore. And he left, and wow, did that guy take off. Now look at him. Now he's a Valor bare knuckle champion, the British British bare knuckle champion. Opportunities in front of him now. So yeah, you've got to get smart. And yeah, I mean, fight purses, they're just not enough, really, as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's not, unless you're the top level guys, it's only going to pay for your stuff. It's like one person that comes to mind with me, and who really needs this sort of stuff is like that Leon Edwards, isn't he, fights in the UFC. He's like a great fighter, but you know, I like him, but he's not someone that, he's fighting this weekend, I need to watch him. You know, that Bushido spirit and things works really. It's nice, but it doesn't pay the bills, does it?
Absolutely, Brian. And you know, it's a prime example. And what I've done about this, because I understand this, and I had a lot of fighters in my camps over the years. Some of the most talented guys I've ever seen that were definitely UFC potential in terms of their ability, but they'll never ever make it because they just don't want to focus on their own brand. They don't want to do it. They just do not want to do it. So I've created the entire course, you know, for fighters that want to do it. But if they got a manager, their manager can do the course and then can implement all these strategies for them. Oh, you know what, bro? Even their brother or their sister or their friend can literally take that role on and literally create a career out of generating sponsorships for fighters. Because when you follow my process, it's almost a fail-safe method. I mean, unless you've got some real disposition with your personality, you can't fail because everything's done for you. I mean, I could go on forever about it, but I'll give you a little story. I had a guy in my gym years ago, and he was probably one of the most talented fighters we'd ever seen. He smashed through the amateur levels. We put him into an opportunity on a bigger show. The promoter gave him some tickets. I said to him, right, get on and do what you got to do. We rocked up to the event. He weighed in on spot on. It was raring to go. He looked in great shape, and he handed every single ticket back to the promoter. And the promoter went, what the hell is this? He looked at me, and I just went, oh God, I know what's coming now. And he said, what? My job's to fight. I'm here to sell tickets. And I just looked at the promoter and went, I'm so sorry. And I looked at him and went, you're done, mate. You're never going to get a fight on this show if you don't. You've got to embrace it, whether you like it or not. It's part of the business. It's show business. Yeah, this is show business. Just because you're a fighter doesn't mean to say you shouldn't have an element of business savvy. Rubbish. You know, the show is the fight, but the business is what you do to make sure you're making money from that fight. So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
There's only certain people that can do it naturally, isn't there? You know, there's like...
absolutely.
You know, Conor McGregor, I was chatting to Paddy Pimblett over in Liverpool, and he's got a natural thing. I don't think I'd have it. If I was a fighter and I was a professional fighter, I think I'd have to work at myself to do it. I haven't got that natural gregarious, people want to like me, and people get drawn into you. There's only very few people who can do that. And you've got people like Chael Sonnen, who had the rapper, writing lines for him. Someone was telling me about that, like, you know what I mean? So he worked at it because he looked at WWE and then he went on that model, didn't he? You know what I mean? And that made loads of money. And he done the same thing, get on TV, get an interview. I remember him talking about how many minutes he got time on a certain interview, and then no other fighter has got that much time, you know what I mean? Thinking like that is totally different. And I think he makes a lot of money now, Chael.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? You're smart, bro. You're spotting these things, and these are the things that I've been really working my whole program on. Now, look at it this way, right? You've got the guy in the gym who rocks up within inside of a year. He's probably one of the most technical fighters you've seen. You think, lucky bastard. How has he done that? Okay. And then there's guys like me that rock up to the gym and I have to bust my ass day in, day out for hours every day to get anywhere near the level of competence or technical ability that guy's got. Okay. But that didn't stop me working to get to that level. Okay. I still managed to win fights. I still managed to get as technical as I could because I worked my butt off. Okay. So the other side of it, I was lucky from my background and the way that I am. I was pretty good at self-promoting myself. But you've got that guy in the gym that is technically gifted. So he's going to have to work his butt off outside of the gym. Okay, there's two ways to look at a fight career. You know, you've got your fighting and then you've got your business aspect. If you're strong in the fighting, you're going to have to work on your weakness, which is the business. And for me, I was strong in the business, but my weakness was getting the technical ability of the other guys. So I had to work hard on that. Nothing in life comes easy, man. If it's worth having, it's worth working for. So I don't want to hear the fighters going, oh yeah, but it's hard work. Well, then don't come and use my course, because honestly, nothing in life worth having is not going to be hard work. And if you meet anybody that tells you different, please send them my way, because I'd love to know where I went wrong for the last 30 years. So if you're going to come to me and say, oh, but I've got to put some effort in, damn right, you've got to put some effort in. Whether it's in the gym or whether it's in your business, you've got to put some effort in, or don't expect to get anything back.
I speak to more fighters now, and when I'm in the gym, I speak to them, and a lot of time it's as if sponsorship is something that should be just given to you, if you know what I mean, and not that. Because I said to someone, I can't remember who it was now, and it was like, it's like, I'm not going to give you money for nothing. I want something back. You know what I mean? Unless I'm your friend and I'm trying to help your career or something. But let's say I'm Adidas. I'm not going to give you money unless you're giving me something back. And that's got to be selling my kit or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I don't know if everybody thinks like that. And I think it was Jason who said that to us. That switch in your head of understanding.
Bro, honestly, I can't tell you how refreshing it is to speak to you today. Honestly. Now, you've just nailed another area that I've had to really work on is, over the years, I see fighters posting on Facebook, sponsorship opportunities. I need new shoes. I need new kit. I've got to travel. Hit me up for information. It's like, wow, you might as well you are wasting your time. Just like you just said, never one time did I approach a sponsor and say to them, I need. Damn. No one's going to give you anything if you're telling them about what you need. I went to sponsors and said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do for you. And this is when I'm going to do it. And this is how much exposure you're going to get. And this is what you're going to get. And at the end of it, I'm going to record it. And I'm going to show you what I did for you, because I want you to sponsor me again. They don't care what I need. Okay. This is a business deal. Okay. Sponsorship is a business. There's no such thing as free money. And the minute you say that to a sponsor, boom, not only will he not sponsor you then, that guy will never, ever acknowledge you again. And it's the biggest mistake they make. They think that people care about them. Now, it's a harsh world. Business is hard. Okay. Businesses that want to sponsor you, they don't care about you. Unfortunately, it's the harsh truth. Unless it's a local business, the owner, and he's a friend of yours, he might give you a bit of money. But we're talking about real sponsorships here, where you can make a living out of it. You've got to offer value. If you don't offer value, then no one's going to give you anything. So, yeah, and how many times have I heard fighters say, oh, sponsorship, free money? And if you're going to come to me with that attitude, again, please don't waste anyone's time, because you are not going to get sponsored with that attitude. So there's a lot of things that fighters need to change, or they need to change the way they think about things. There's no such thing as free money. And this is not easy. This is going to be some work involved, but you get what you put in, get out what you put in. You reap what you sow, as they say.
Yeah, the only one I've ever seen do it was Joel. Was fighting at a Team Quest a while ago. He's got Lyme's disease at the moment, and he's in a bad way. they're doing a GoFundMe for him. But I remember him saying, he was listing, he's like, I've got this sponsorship on my shorts and this and that. And then he'd list, if you do this sponsorship package, I'll give you this, this and this, and I'll do this, this and this for you, and I'll do this. And it was like, whoa, I remember seeing that was probably about 3-4 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. And it's the only time I've ever seen anybody do anything like that. You know?
Yeah. Dude, if you could see, I mean, I could do a screen share of you right now and show you my sponsorship package that I used to get sponsorships over 10 years ago, and it'll blow you away. And that's why it's so easy for fighters to get sponsored. They don't realize how easy it is. There are many, many, many people out there that want to get behind fighters at the moment, but because these fighters have no idea how to approach people or how to present their proposal, they're getting shut down straight away. But you should really see the proposal that I have done for myself, and I recreate a whole template for anyone that follows the program. And they literally, as they go through, most of the information I've filled in, like the demographics of MMA or whatever their sport is, because it's not just for MMA, it's for kickboxing, boxing. But so a lot of it's filled in, but some of the personal stuff they just cut and paste, and boom, they got a ready-made proposal to send out. But the course is really detailed. I go through everything from branding, how to approach, how to follow up, networking, the media, social media. There's a lot involved.
Yeah, because there's a few where you place yourself as well. And there's a couple of people that John Jones is one. He tries to place himself in this. I'm this really nice guy, but when he became the bad guy, everyone fucking loved him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's pray together, and everyone's like, "Fuck off, dickhead." But then he's like, "Call me, I beat you when I was sniffing cocaine." What do you think?
There you go.
And everyone loved him then.
Dude, I loved him then as well. I've got to be honest, mate. And do you know why? It's because he's real. People loved it resonates with people, when people are real. And listen, at John Jones's level, don't think for one second he doesn't have a PR team backstage managing all of his fuck ups, because he makes a few. But they twist it, and it's about twisting it into your favor, and he literally did that. He's had a lot of backing and a lot of advice. That isn't the way it seems on the front. Is people look at it and think, he's just saying what comes off the top of his head. Dude, that is not the case. That guy made mistakes. His PR team spun it, threw it back out, and made him even more popular. Because what people don't understand is that, there's an element of being a fighter or an athlete or a role model, if you want to use that word, where you have to be beyond reproach effectively. You need to be almost perfect. But sometimes people like to see the human side of you, but it's a balance. You've got to get the balance right. There's some things best kept hidden, and I always encourage my guys to have a Facebook page and then a personal profile, and block their personal profile, make it unpublished or private, because you can do what you want on there, but when you're in the public eye, you've got to be more considerate about how you come across. And again, I get a lot of fighters say, I'm real, I don't care what people think of me. Well, then you're in the wrong business, okay? Because you should care what people think of you, because those people will make or break you now and in your future. And believe me when I say this, I've seen it happen. One single troll on Twitter can almost ruin your life. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you off screen some examples, but I've seen it. So you really have to care about what people think of you. Yes.
I don't do Twitter, man. It's just too many arguments for me. It's just I don't get it as well. Tell you the truth. I think Ben Askren for me summed it up the best when he was talking about Kamaru Usman, and that kid's a great fighter, but for me, I don't buy into it because he doesn't seem real to me. And he goes, people can love you, people can hate you, but what you don't want to be is in the middle. But actually, he's even worse. He's in the middle where people don't like him and they don't care about him, which is the worst place. It's just off the middle where they don't care at all about you, don't like you as well. And it's like, you're just bland, aren't you? Because it just doesn't feel true. And there's just so much of that. There was a girl the other day. I don't know. Do you watch the Contender series?
I haven't been. No, it's hard to get in Thailand.
And there's 2 weeks ago. There's 3 weeks ago. There was a girl on, and she was giving it, "I'm the baddest gangster," and all this, and I've done her and everything, and it was great. Then she come after and she was like bouncing. She was really bubbly, loads of personality. Dana White's going, she's great, she is. And they had an interview after them. I want to say I respect my opponent. And it's like, oh, fucking hell. All you could learn in one session. Your coaches probably said to you, oh, go and just be humble. Instead of like carrying on that, I'm a gangster. I can't remember, she said she was like yin and yang. She was great and she was like really nice and a gangster as well when you get in the cage. Which, you know, you were like, I'm like, I want to watch it again now. And then it's like, not so much now. Not bothered, you know.
Dude, honestly, that resonates with me as well. My first fight on Cage Rage or UCMMA, Dave O'Donnell, you know, he's flamboyant. I love Dave. He's great. He said to me before, he said, get inside their heads. Be theatrical. Get them excited. And I was thinking, like, can't I just be myself? You know? And he was like, nah, you got to get. So I went into this interview and I started acting like a twat, right? I watched it back and I went, oh my God, what did I do? I was new. I was green. I didn't know what I'm doing. I tried to hype it up, but you know what? It was so not me. It come across ridiculous. And I actually got some pretty bad feedback from it. And I said to Dave, you know what, mate? I'm going to be me. Now, if you're boring, unfortunately, like Usman, then okay, we got to talk. But if you have to be yourself, you've got to create a brand. You've got to think about your story. What motivates you? What hardship have you suffered? People love to hear about all that. Then you create a persona that you move forward with. And as long as you can mainly, I say 80-20 rule always applies in my course. So 80% of the time you can be yourself, but throw 20% of something in that is kind of part of you that stands out. And I go through a whole process in the course of looking at people, they got to examine themselves and say, okay, what stands out about me? You know, I was a big bald guy with tattoos and I had muscles. So I bloody well used it. When I got my coaches saying, you just stop worrying about how you look so much. I'm like, I can't, it's my brand. Like, I can't. I have to be in the gym. I have to pump weights. I have to do bicep curls, which are no good for my fighting, but it's smashing my brand. So, you know, it's finding the right way to portray your persona or your image or your brand. You know, that's it's a tough thing to do for some people. But you're right, that woman, she must have gone in there and she was herself. And you loved it. You bought into it. You're like, I want to watch this woman. And then they said, well, I'll tone it down a bit. And she's gone the other way. And now you're like, oh, she's boring now. Show business, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's like, if she'd have been on, she'd have been probably fighting in the next week or two because she got through that really quick.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm guessing that will have probably done her career a bit of a slower burn, you know what I mean? Where they knew they could have used what she was doing. Like, but, It is difficult. I don't know how well I'd do. You know what I mean? When I try and put myself in that position, I think I'd have a lot of work to do because I'm not always naturally gregarious and outward and things like that. Although I do like to talk, which probably just bore fucking people to death. Probably if I was on the plane. So I'm not sure how I do. I'm not that person. There's only a few people that draw people in, isn't there? You know what I mean? You've got that charisma.
Yeah, you're right, but you know. Yeah, it's another good point. And I think you're right to an extent. You know, some people just don't have it in them. But, dude, I could work with anyone. I mean, give me a guy, if he's quiet and grossly overweight, I'm going to go to the local donut shop and ask if they want to sponsor and make a joke out of it. You know, just have some fun with it. There's always something for someone. Everybody has an audience that will resonate with their story. Now, even if you've got the quietest, most, you know, introverted guy possible, dig into his story, find out about him. There'll be something there that people can relate to. You know, maybe he was bullied as a kid growing up. There's a hook. Let's use it. You know, let's say he's quiet because he suffered all that hardship. Let's find out some way of getting people to like him. And he might not even have to ever speak. In fact, sometimes, you know, we can create brands where people are just known for being dead quiet, but we leave an air of mystery about them. We just drop a few little subtle bombs in and create a story and put it into the media. And all of a sudden, people are intrigued by this guy. They know he's suffered, so they feel for him. They can relate to it. And then they're kind of drawn to his lack of wanting to speak. There's so much we can do. Everybody has something about them that will stand out. It's just a case of finding it and then creating your brand around it.
That's the bit where I think I'd have to think is finding that avenue. And that's where probably I'd need help on that. Because look at, like you say about quiet person, look at Fadel. I mean, he never used to say anything.
Yeah. There you go, bro, banging. You know, his fight did a lot of it, but he still had a very calm, confident demeanor. And he left that question mark in everyone's mind, like, what is this guy like? Is he really just a machine? And that was his brand, bro. You know, he didn't step outside of that. He kept it going for his entire career, and he was just being himself. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, we spend a lot of time analysing, ourselves. That's what we have to do in the course, because that's the only way you're going to make forward steps in life. But I have a free access, lifetime access to a support group in Facebook where anyone who's subscribed to the course can go in, and we can bounce ideas of each other. People can message me at any time, can ask me, say, there's so much we can do around the course, supporting them and helping them identifying ways to promote themselves and create a brand. So, but I think you'll do very well. I think you'd be just fine. I think you'll probably be like me. You'd smash the business side of it, and you'd do no problem with the interviews, but it'd be in the gym where you have to work your ass off.
We can't take punches.
Oh no, you're banging trouble then. You better get a sponsorship for your first fight.
Big sponsored, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's even if you've got a glass jaw, there's ways I can find people to sponsor you. I mean, look at that guy who fought years ago. The Sun sponsored him, and they put their logos on the soles of his feet because they knew he was going to get knocked out. Dude, what does he care? He just got paid a shitload of money, and what a great marketing tactic that was.
Yeah.
Everybody's got some way of getting sponsored. Believe me. Like I said, the only way I can't help you is if you're a complete and utter douchebag. If you're a complete arse, then I'm sorry, man. There's not much anyone can do for you.
That's what I want to do with this. Really, is give fighters another platform. You know what I mean? And somewhere else that they can go, somewhere they can say things. I'm not looking to cause controversy, but that. So who's the guy? Nick Pete, he does the Fight Disciples and everything. He was saying, like, I come on this today, and it's like, I've got an agenda that I want. You know what I mean? And when you're a fighter, you should come on. If you're going to do any podcast, should come on with your agenda to promote yourself, instead of just coming on and waiting for the questions and then reacting to the questions. It's like you should manage. They should manage me more than I should manage them with directing their questions, especially in the.
I love that. Yeah. That's great, and you've been fantastic. I've done many of these type of things, and you've been great because you've given me that freedom and let me focus on something I really want to talk about. I mean, I love MMA, so do you, but you've given me the opportunity to speak about something I want to speak to, and not been too restrictive. So I love the concept of what you're doing for sure.
But cheers, man. I just want a free and open chat, really, with this is what my aim is, because I just like talking to people, you know what I mean? And it's a new skill of listening for me, which is, I like talking more than listening, which is not a good thing for doing this, you know what I mean?
That's another thing I touched on in my course. Sorry to keep going on about it, but another thing I touched on.
No, that's what I want to speak to you about, because it's something that I'm passionate about, that I want fighters to do well. I love fighters, I love watching fighters, and I see them like that girl, and I want to see them skyrocket, because as that Nick Pete was saying, if they skyrocket, that means the sport skyrockets. That means my podcast will help that, and everything, and it's good for everybody, So
I couldn't agree more. I love that attitude, and and this is the thing. Like, you got some of the best fighters that are going to make it to the very top in terms of their ability. They're going to skyrocket, and obviously their ability is going to carry them a lot further than someone who struggles to have that ability. But that doesn't mean to say that other people can't skyrocket. I mean, you could give me a fighter that's 0-10, and dude, I'd make him famous. And I'd get him sponsored. I'd owe him a shitload of money. And that's what I'm trying to get through. And we're at the verge. I mean, this is a brand new concept that hasn't been done in the sport yet. And if people will embrace it, jump on board, they can change their lives, change their careers through this course, because nobody else is doing it. And nobody else quite understands how to do it. So could be a good thing to get on as soon as possible, because once everybody knows my secrets, then it's going to be a level playing field. That's
the one, isn't it? That's why there's certain questions that I'm not really going to try and ask you, because it's like, otherwise people won't want to do the course, because you know what I mean. You've got to
ask.
No, but it's how did you do that? How did you do it, etc. So some of those things are more so about the technical aspects of doing the courses, but we understand the outside of it. The outside of it is to find yourself a brand and ultimately making money, which is the main thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? So that you're not doing it for nothing and set you up for life in the future, which is one of the main things.
Exactly. You got it, bro. So one of my catchphrases, which has just been, it's just starting to happen. It wasn't something I planned, but it's like, let's get paid, guys. I mean, come on, you're in there fighting, training your asses off every day. It's time to get paid, and people are getting purses, but they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid real money. You're picking up a fight purse here and there. I'm talking about real money. I'm talking about real sponsorship. So it's kind of becoming my catchphrase, or it'll be, let's get paid, or it's time to get paid. In fact, I'm going to coin that and start using it. You'll see it in every bit of marketing material over the next few months. The concept was born here.
So how did you get into MMA then? Because you said you got into it late. What were you doing before that, or were you just...
All right, okay. I told you to ask me anyway. I can't answer that completely honestly, but I'll give you my best. So, I started quite late in my life. I had a bit of a misspent youth, if I'm honest. But I started martial arts when I was very, very young, and I loved them. I'd done judo and taekwondo. My mum didn't want me boxing; she didn't want me getting hit. Funny enough, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, was getting hit. But then I had a nasty car crash, and I just destroyed my right leg and hip, and it sent me right off the rails. When I come out of hospital, I was on crutches for over a year, and I lost my job. I started drinking, and it was quite a bad time. So I was completely lost for a good few years. And then 1993 or whatever it was, I saw the first UFC, and I went, I want that. I need that in my life. That's what I need. And that was what inspired me. Tank Abbott, Hoist Gracie, and I went on a mission. And like with everything in my life, I just threw myself into it. And it's not good enough for me to just know how to do something. I need to understand why I'm doing it, and I need to understand all the underpinning knowledge that supports why I'm doing something. So I went crazy into nutrition, strength conditioning. I went to university for sports and exercise science. I've done all my personal training courses, anatomy and physiology. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I've got a list of qualifications as long as my arm. So I kind of got my head together and got my shit together, for want of a better term, around 33. And that's when I went into full-time training. But I'd only had 6 months of actual MMA training before my first fight. And as I said, I'd never been in a cage in my life. And it just went well for me from there, really. I've always loved fighting. I've always loved martial arts. So it wasn't a case of me choosing the sport. It was just, it come for me at the right time. And there was no way I was ever not going to be involved in it. Mm-hmm. It was like I didn't even have a choice.
Where did you train?
So I started
at that time, wasn't it?
No, so it was a struggle for me because I took it very seriously. So I used to drive up to London, Camden Town for TKO Boxing Gym, because they were renowned as one of the best gyms around for what I needed. I drive to Ladbroke Grove to Roger Gracie Academy to train MMA and to do jiu-jitsu sometimes with Roger and the guys there. And that was amazing. I trained with GSP there and all some of the greatest guys you can imagine. Then I had a local jiu-jitsu club I used to go to, which was great. But I had one of my best friends and support network was a guy called Solomon Raja, who runs Prize Fights. He was brilliant. He was in every corner I had a fight. I used to train kickboxing with him because he's a phenomenal kickboxing coach, and he's also a very good wrestler. So that was great for me. So yeah, then I had Dean Amersinger and Tolly Plested as well. These two of the best coaches I worked with. Tolly is just incredible. He actually come out to help us at Fairtex recently. He was amazing, such a great guy, so structured in his approach. He's now the head UFC coach in the UK. He was brilliant. So I used that, but then what happened, I was driving all the way around these places, and I said to myself, I was doing all right. I'd earned some money. And I said, now I'm going to build a gym. So I opened up the biggest gym of its kind in Europe at the time. It was 20,000 square foot facility, just fitted out for MMA. And then I trained there. I used to bring the coaches to me. I'd pay them, just travel, come to me, let's get this thing done properly. And I had the best S&C guys from Twickenham University as well. I used to come in and help me with my S&C, effectively taught me all through the coaching of how to deliver S&C plans. So yeah, I just tried to pick the best I could possibly find. I was quite lucky because Where
did you have that gym?
I had one in Aldershot, and then I franchised it Leeds, Walton-on-Thames, and there was a few others about to open, but I sold them and come to Thailand.
Uh-huh. So what's your thing on strength and conditioning? Has that changed over time, or what?
Strength and conditioning is probably the area that I love the most about, other than fighting and the martial arts itself. I love the psychology, I love the nutrition, but strength and conditioning is a science, man, and this is it can make the difference between a very good fighter and an okay fighter. Strength conditioning done right is amazing. Strength conditioning done wrong is detrimental.
What's your take on strength conditioning? Now, I'm a bit on that bro science thing. I like lifting heavy shit and throwing tires and stuff like that.
Mate, listen.
I like a lot of strongman. I used to do a lot of strongman exercises because I built gyms at my house. when I was like in Thailand. I had bits cage side there, bags and everything. And then I had like Atlas stones and big tires and everything. So I used to do all those circuits. I love all that stuff because I enjoy it. But what would be a strength and conditioning thing for you? What do you?
You look in good shape. You look strong, actually. So I can see that, and that's a good base. But the whole science of strength conditioning is very, very different. You know, you go through 3, maybe 4 phases. You start with a base conditioning phase, depending on you have to run a series of tests for the fighter first, find out where their strengths and weaknesses lie. Otherwise, you're like throwing a dart blindfolded. You don't know what areas they need to improve on. So you test for, their fitness, the different energy systems. You test for strength, explosiveness, upper body, lower body, endurance. There's many things we test for, and then we devise a plan off of that. So it depends where their strengths and weaknesses lie. But generally, you're starting on a strength phase, where it'd just be like heavy lifting, building a strength base. Strength is, one of the most important attributes towards power. I mean, it's half of the equation. Force times velocity. Force being the strength, velocity being the speed, the rate of force development. But it goes on. So I go through phases, base conditioning phase, and then you go through phases there up towards the fight when it's a competitive conditioning and things like that. It's actually a very complex subject if it's done right. But believe me, I think if you don't have that around you, don't have people with that level of understanding of strength conditioning, then some people are going to hate me for saying this, but I'm talking from a purely monetary perspective. If you're a fighter that doesn't have a great deal of money, you can't afford a top level strength conditioning coach, you can either sign up to my program where you get a free strength conditioning plan. It was developed by some of the best scientists in the UK, by the way, which I'll actually give you for free. Or you can do CrossFit. Now, I understand what people are saying. They worry about injury. And yes, you've got to be careful pushing yourself past certain boundaries. But in terms of an overall level of fitness, CrossFit is probably the best transferable resource to use, I'd say. But that's if you can't afford a proper strength conditioning plan.
Well, I've never done CrossFit, so I heard about it. I don't know if I've got the flexibility for a lot of this stuff, especially.
There are many issues with CrossFit, and don't get me wrong, and I have to be clear about this, that CrossFit is not what I'm recommending, but if you've got no money and you can follow the principles of CrossFit, which is don't hurt yourself, don't go outside of like good form. If you can follow those principles, it's actually a really good way to train. But the problem with CrossFit is the very essence of what it's about. They encourage you to keep pushing, and that's when people sacrifice form, and that's when they get injured. But if you can follow those plans without getting injured and maintain good form, you're going to get a lot of benefit from CrossFit.
Yeah, there's a lot of complaints about the Olympic lifts and stuff that they do, isn't there? Where you're doing it past to exhaustion, and you fall. And if you're doing those Olympic lifts with bad form, they are quite dangerous, aren't they? You know what I mean? So
exactly my point. Exactly what I'm trying to say. So if you understand what I'm saying, is that if you can get the form right, if you can make sure you don't push yourself too far and compromise form, then it could be very good for you. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And Olympic lifts are the best type of exercise you can be doing for most sports, if I'm honest. But they have to be done right.
Pardon?
They have to be done right.
Yeah, I've watched people do them. I don't do them because I can't do them. So I've not the coaching for it. And I know my form's going to be really bad. It's like I was doing deadlifts, and I'm amazed, like, that's the most I've seen someone deadlift, but with the worst form I've ever seen. I can't do that right now, but it's my form is terrible. So they were taking the piss when I was doing squats the other day. So what are you doing? You need to do that.
But you got the weight up and down. You didn't injure yourself. Well done. That's good.
Not bad. I used to do a lot of that. I used to do a lot of like farmers walk stuff and everything, and so I built all those.
They're very good.
Strong like that, but when it comes to those Olympic lifts, it's just useless. I know what I mean. So how did you end up in Thailand?
Well, that's a really good question. It was like fighting, really. I didn't really have a choice. I absolutely hate and despise the UK. I can't stand it. I don't like the regime. I don't like the weather. I don't like the food. I can't work with the government. I mean, I had 3 very successful businesses, and I paid so much in taxes. I mean, you'd be amazed how much tax I paid over the years. And I always knew that being a single guy, if I ever needed anything from them, I'd be the last person on the list. And they made demands of me that were unrealistic and unfair. I had a construction company that, made a lot of money, and I sent a big invoice to a client, and he chose not to pay me. And there was a big VAT element on that invoice, and the government or the HMRC demanded that I pay it. I said, but I haven't been paid. They said, no, not a point. You submitted the invoice. So they demanded that I pay it, and I went, do you know what? You ain't never going to get that money. And I sold and left. It was only £6,000 in VAT, but it was the principle of the thing. Like, they just, I don't know. I didn't like it there. So I wanted sunshine, and I come to Thailand one time, and I never left. Yeah.
I've left a couple of times. But I was a bit like that. I went to Thailand to do a teaching course because I was going to go to Africa actually to do teaching volunteer work. And then I got there and it's just stayed. You know what I mean? And it's like 12 years now I've been in Thailand, although I'm not there at the moment. You know what I mean? But there is something about there. I love it, the weather and the food's amazing. The only other place I liked now was like Colombia. I spent nearly six months in Colombia, and I love it there.
Lovely.
Yeah. So,
I've not been there yet.
Superb. Yeah. People are amazing in a different way to the Thai people. It is different, but they're super friendly. The weather's great there. The food isn't as good though. But everything else is fun.
Fantastic. I've always wanted to go to that side of the world. I've been everywhere else but there. But now I'm in Thailand. I just love it. I'm never leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying to get back at the moment. I'm working in Kenya, so it's same reason as you. I don't like being in the UK. I was there for 6 weeks, and it's like I need to go somewhere. Where are we going to go? I can go to Kenya. I'll answer that. That's cool.
That'll do. Yeah. Anywhere but England.
I'm on the beach now, so it's like just walk out the room and I'm right on the beach, so it's quite cool. You know what I mean? So what were you doing in Thailand? Were you fighting at Thailand or?
No, too old for that now. Unfortunately, I'm 44. I retired 5 years ago. No, I come here and I was working for Fairtex as the MMA coordinator, and I was doing a lot of work with some of the best guys. Got overseeing contracts with one championship, helping manage the routines and overseeing the S&C and stuff like that, and a small amount of coaching. But I'm not really a great coach. I'm not. It's just not me. I much prefer to be in the managerial side. But it was a great experience. As I say, I worked with Jason there. It was fantastic. I love Fairtex. But I moved on after just over a year and just started working for a nutrition company, which just gave me a lot of freedom, a lot of time. I had so much time on my hands, and I was still doing bits and pieces of one championship, and then just recently started refereeing for one championship. So I'm keeping busy, bro.
You're on every event, aren't you, in Thailand now?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
How's that been? So is it 3 different events, 3 different companies, you've been working for? So WLC, F&D, and one champion. What's the difference between the 3 of them?
Right, well, mate, first of all, it was a week of absolute madness. I mean, it was probably one of the most intense weeks. Well, no, definitely the most intense week of my life, even above any fight that I've ever done. I had 6 events to referee in just 6 days. I travelled around 4 different parts of the country on the plane, stayed in hotels. It was incredible. So the FND was fantastic. It's an MMA show, but with a twist. I mean, it was a circus, they called it. It was just crazy. We'd done like open weights. It was man against woman doing a grappling contest. It was 2 against 1 fight. It was crazy, but it was so much fun. In one night, I refereed a boxing match, a left way match, a Muay Thai match, and an MMA match. So I'd done 4 different styles in one night. The very next day, I flew out to another part of the country. I can't say where. And I refereed the left way championships, which I think, was the most incredible experience in the fight game for me so far. Bearing in mind, I've been over the UFCs and cornered guys there, won championship. I've seen and done a lot, but left way was just unreal, man. I mean, headbutts are legal. You can punch people in the back of the head. You can slam. It's just incredible. Bare knuckles, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I've done a few events there. Then I moved on and had to go to one. I had to do my COVID test. Then I got quarantined for 24 hours. And then I went and done the rehearsals. And then we done the live show. And we done all of that. It was, that was crazy. And it's very intense when there's that many people watching you live. the referee's always open for criticism, but it's very hard as well because I've looked at refs over the years and gone, oh, ref, what are you doing? But I've been in that ring myself, and it happens so fast. You've only got one pair of eyes. Even I've made mistakes recently. I say even I've got hardly the experience most guys have, but even so, it's a tough job. So guys, give the referees a bit of a break, warrior.
It's easy when you sat there watching on TV. There's no consequences to what you're doing. Like when we started the chat last time and it fucked up. I work with FMD sometimes, and like Oliver said, "Oh yeah, you're going to ref this fight," and I'm like, there's a bit of support, and he's like, "I'm too busy at the moment. I'll put someone else." You know what I mean? So like, fair enough. You don't want to fuck it up. Not really. I'm not really care if people think I'm bad or whatever. I don't want one of them to get hurt or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a bit of a responsibility, isn't it? That's the way I see it. So
massive.
I watch like Lee Livingston do it, and he does it. It's like he doesn't care, but that enables him to do it really well. You know what I mean? Whereas I'd be like, because I'd be so tense, I don't think I'd do a good job, and not relaxed. So I'd need to step my way into it slowly, and then once I got going, I think I'd be a bit better at it. So.
You're absolutely right. I mean, again, you've got a great way of analysing things before you actually do it. Hopefully, that doesn't put you off doing things too much in life because you're maybe overanalyzing. But you're absolutely right. Things you just said. It is a massive pressure job, and for me, it's okay. I know when to stop a fight to stop someone getting hurt. But do you know what? For me as a fighter, my pride hurts more than any injury, or most, not all, but most injuries I'm likely to get. My pride. If you stop that fight before I've really given it my absolute best, I'm going to be very angry, and that's the thing that worries me the most. I've got these guys, like there's a fight on one just a few weeks ago, and the guy was taking some heavy leg kicks, but he was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and they were dropping him. And I kept getting him back up because in my mind I was thinking, this guy only needs one takedown and this whole fight changes. So I wanted to make sure he had enough opportunities, and then I waved the fight off, but I did let it go on a bit longer than I would because A, it was leg kicks, okay? They hurt, but they're not going to be career ending. It's not like taking punishment in the head. B, the guy was a black belt. All he needed was one takedown and that whole fight would have changed. And C, I was thinking about his pride. I mean, I want that guy to go on his shield. And, he was absolutely happy with the decision and I stopped it at the right time. But a few people said, oh, you let it go on a bit long. But unless you've been in there and you're a fighter and you know how much it means to you to win and you've still got that chance to stop that fight before he's completely out of the fight, for me was a very, very tough decision to make.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to speak to you about because that was like Y2K against Alex.
Yeah. Alex Shield.
They were brutal, those leg kicks, weren't they? You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have had a problem if you'd have stopped it earlier.
No,
but
me neither.
I don't think you stopped it too late either. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah.
Because it's like, if you know what I mean, it's like, he was done, but he was always getting up. It wasn't like he was like lying on the floor and staying there. But you knew he was only on one peg, wasn't he? You know what I mean? But fair play to him. You know what I mean? He was. They were brutal, those leg kicks, but he just kept getting up. And I think, that was about the right time. It was like, he wasn't coming back on.
No, he wasn't. He got to a point where I thought, because I gave him enough chance. I thought, you're going to take three of them. Okay, they flip him well hurt. But, he kept getting up. And then it only takes catch one, drive, single to the floor, And I thought, he's still in this fight, Okay, he's in trouble, but he's still in this fight. So I left it to the point where I thought, he ain't getting up now, and that's it, it's over. I just didn't want to damage his chances of winning the fight, But some people say maybe it went on a bit long, and I've watched the video, and like you say, I could have stopped it earlier. I guess the fighter in me kicked in then, and if that was me on the floor, I'd be getting up, I'd be saying, don't you stop this fight, because I'm taking that guy down in a second. He had plenty of chances. He's a great kid and he did really well. He'll be back. But at least, he's not going to take any long-lasting damage. He's going to have some sore legs, but it's not like a head injury, or even a body shot where you're going to damage internal organs. It's legs, okay? They do heal. That was my take on it anyway.
I thought that was a good stoppage because, like, when I was watching it, when he'd get up and he wouldn't be falling over straight away. Because if he was doing that, then it's like, stop the fight. You can't stand up and fight, can you? But he'd get up and you could see he was ginger on it, but you're going to be fucking hell, that kid. I know him. He kicks like a mule, doesn't he, that Y2K?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So But he'd get up and he'd have his hands up and he'd be ready to go. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he'd be and then stumbling around. So yeah, I just wondered if he did think about stopping it earlier or not. Was
I did think about it. I was very, very close, very close. But if he was a purple belt, I may have stopped it earlier. The guy's a black belt, and just one takedown. He's only got to catch one of those legs shots. He knows the legs are coming in. Just catch it. I mean, it's risky because if he switches and goes high, you're getting knocked out. But at least you went out in your shield. That happens. So, yeah, a black belt, I thought it just takes one takedown, and this fight's going completely the other direction. And because Y2K had so much of it in his own favour, let's give this guy a chance of getting it in his world on the ground. And, yeah, it didn't happen. But, hey, it was a great fight. And both guys are happy in the end. It was
it was a good fight. And respects to Alex for that. I quite like that fight. I remember, I've known him. I can't really talk to him because he speaks Thai and I don't speak much Thai.
He's getting better.
I met him in passing quite a few times, you know what I mean? I remember one time, Oliver Cost sort of, he was just about, I can't remember if he was just about to kick someone in the head when they were on the floor, and Oliver just grabbed him out the way, because the fight finished and he was just about to do this guy. He's a killer, isn't he?
He is a killer. But, I think you'll find that Alex has got so much more support and respect from people after that fight because he did show heart. He did get back up every time. The guy's a warrior, man. He'll go back to the gym and he'll make sure he learns how to check those kicks or catch them now. But, yeah, Y2K, yeah, he's got an animal side, hasn't he?
Yeah. He wants to kill you when he's in there, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got the impression he wanted to kill me, and I wasn't even fighting him.
I can bet him in China as well when I was in cornering Will Choke. You know what I mean? He was over there as well. Wow. So he's nice enough out the ring, isn't he? But you don't want to be in a fight with
Lovely.
him. I've grappled
with
him
fantastic guy.
But I'm a lot bigger than him, so it wasn't really fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice kid.
Lovely guy.
So. The circus. What was the best bit of that?
The circus was insane, man. Wow. I mean, look, I obviously couldn't get involved too much with a 2-on-1 fight. One championship referee can't be involved in something like that. It can't happen in case something bad happened. But sitting on the sideline, wow. There was a little kid in there that had never fought in his life, never fought. He's a dancer. And I just turned around to John Nutt and I went, give that kid a contract. He is awesome. And yeah, he got the crowd and everyone loved him. And they had a system where it was streamed live in the States. Had a system where you can tip the fighters if you like them. Uh-huh. This kid got massive amount of tips because he's a tiny little guy, never had a fight. And he just kept coming. So that was quite funny. Also like to see the grappling match. It was man against girl. The man was bigger. She won. She subbed him. She got him with a rear naked choke, and that was really good to watch because she was a reasonable level blue belt and he had no experience at all. So it was kind of testing the whole BJJ theory, smaller guy, blah blah blah. And she owned him. She destroyed him, and that was really good to see. And then of course the Letway guy won by devastating knockout of a beautiful elbow, and that was, for me, the first time I'd ever been in a ring where headbutts were legal. Mm-hmm. So that was quite something.
What's his name? Was it Hawthorne or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah. Fabiano Hawthorne, is it? Mm-hmm. Was it Fabiano? Yeah. Good kid. I actually went to, he was at Leftway with one of his guys who was fighting for the title, which was an amazing fight. You'll see it soon. Amazing fight.
Oh, is that not been aired yet, those fights?
I shouldn't really have said that.
Okay.
Just keep watching. Just keep watching all the events. Letway is definitely one to watch.
Was there parties afterwards? FMD, as per usual?
Dude, not for me, no. I was in a hotel, sleep, and off to work, and on the plane the next day. So there was no partying for me the whole week, mate. I'd done 6 days of just madness. Come home, collapsed on my sofa. Was happy to see my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I noticed on your Facebook about rescuing that dog.
Oh, yeah.
I
can't help it, mate.
Cool thing to do, man.
We've helped. I just can't help it. I just love these animals. They just got such characters about them. And, most of them, as you know, you've lived in Thailand, they're all right. The locals look after them. They're not in bad shape at all. They're not neglected at all. These are pretty healthy creatures. But every now and again, you'll get one that is in trouble. And the Thai people, as lovely as they are, they just can't afford to give these dogs the attention they need. And they are wild animals, you know, they live on the street, but they're lovely. And yeah, I see one with cancer in his eyes. I had one that was on death's door with mange and blood parasites and God knows what else. And we found another one stranded on the toll road on the way to Bangkok from Pattaya. We saved some puppies and give them good homes. It's just it's something that I really just can't help. I have to do. I just can't ignore them when they need it. But you know yourself, like I said, there's not many that get that bad here. They're generally pretty well looked after, but yeah, we step in sometimes. My wife, she's amazing as well. She loves dogs and she's so good with them. So yeah, between this, we get them back to full health and either put them back where we got them from and they're off happy because, you know, these dogs actually love to be free, or we give them good homes.
Yeah, so I've seen the one with the eyes, with the cancer on the eyes. Like, that must have cost quite a bit to sort that out.
Chemotherapy, not cheap. I paid for it all myself. You know, we had some help. People were amazing on Facebook. I put up a little post because I wanted to share some positivity in this world at the moment. And I thought, I want to share this so people can see that there are, and people are, it's so nice to see how many people actually genuinely cared about these dogs. And they're on the other side of the world and they're just offering money. And I'm like, guys, I don't want your money. I'm not doing it for that. I just want you to see something good. And they were so persistent and insisting that I took their money because they wanted to contribute, that I set up an account with the vets and they paid straight into the account. Okay. And yeah, helped me with the first one. The second one, I refused. I said, no, I'm going to do this on my own. That was the cancer eyes. That guy I did on my own, and he's lovely. And we done the last one on our own as well, and the pups. So maybe if I find another one, I might open up a channel for funding, but it's not about that for me at all.
No, just about doing and helping. I love animals. I'll never have a dog. When I left Thailand a few years ago to go to China and to rehome the dogs, I don't think I'm a good dog owner now. You know, so I won't have any more. You know, I don't want to go through that again, and I don't want to put the dogs through that again. You know, hopefully they're
I understand entirely.
Thailand for you. I stayed in touch with one of the girls that had one of the dogs. She sent me a message saying, "Oh, the Blues died."
Oh no.
Then she sent me a picture of the dog dead. I'm like,
oh shit.
I wasn't laughing at the time. It was like,
wow. Could have done without the picture, love.
Thanks very much. You could have done without sending me that, but they've got a different way of thinking about death, haven't they?
You know, absolutely. It's, you know, about life. You know, there's a lot of things about, you know, the culture here that makes them think completely different, and I love the way that these people think. You know, they're amazing.
There was one time I was teaching in Jantabri, and one of the students, his father died, and he got hit by a car on his bicycle. So the whole class went to because they have the coffin in the temple for a week, don't they? So the whole class went to the temple to go and visit the coffin. And then we're taking team photos in front of the coffin. The whole class. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the way that they are. But it's a market. They're very respectful people. It's just very different the way they do things to us.
I find that a better way than, you know, having it all doom and gloom, all feeling black, and you know what I mean? It's just like that thing. And what you're saying about positivity and seeing that there's good things in the world. That I was a bit doom and gloom before I went out. I don't go out too much. Cycling trip for a year. I had a very low opinion on everyone because I've been in China and everyone's on the phone and I'm a bit isolated from things. So I just see negative, and like I listen to like Joe Rogan podcast and a lot of that's negative as well when you listen to it too much about things that are going on in America. So, but then I go away and it's like, no, there is a lot of decent people around. You know, people put me up and everything. There's a lot of good people about, which doesn't get the publicity, does it? You know what I mean? Only negative thing gets publicity, you know, so that's the thing that I wanted. The first podcast I started speaking about some of the things that are going on. It's like, don't want to speak about that anymore. Let's talk about people who are living lives like you are, doing good things in a different country, living the dream, and show that there's good things to be had out there. You know what I mean? And that's
I love that.
I want to publish and help fighters as well. So.
Love that, bro. I switched off to negativity. I've got absolutely no time for it. I lived in the UK for 40 years. The whole country is just swamped with negativity, doom and gloom. Even the clouds in the sky are miserable. So I don't tune into negativity at all now. And it's, I'm much happier for it as well.
Yeah, it's much better, isn't it? Just politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah.
If you want to argue about it, go on. I can't be asked to argue with you, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do it. I remember on a
Well,
bus.
they're arguing about. Go on.
I remember being on a bus going from Pattaya to Bangkok, and this American sat next to me, and my opening gambit was, I'm not into politics, mate. I don't want to talk about it.
Let's get that clear right now.
Yeah, I know he's going to go on about fucking Trump or something in a minute. Half an hour later. It's like, fucking hell, mate. I told you I'm not into politics. It's like, can you not stop fighting?
Yeah.
You know what's the fight? So,
I get that.
so
yeah.
to wrap this up, when's your when's this going to be live, and where can people find it?
Good question, and thank you for asking. I'm aiming for 6 to 8 weeks. I've still got a lot of work to do. The program has been written and it's very good. I'm now in the process of setting up all of the website, because it's not just a standard website. There's a lot. It's a learning experience on the back end, which you subscribe to. It's a lot of work, which we're in the process of doing now. I'd say 6 to 8 weeks, we should be fully functional. And it's easy. Just go to getfightsponsored.com, or you can check out my Facebook page, Nick Headhunter Chapman, or get hold of me any other way. But it should be in front of everybody's eyes in the next couple of months. My marketing strategy is intense, and the budget we've got for the program is big. So we're going to hit all the English speaking countries first, and then if it goes well, we're going to translate to other countries later on.
Okay, wicked. Anything else?
No, bro, listen, it's been fantastic. I love the way you think, man, and I like what you're doing. So if there's anything I can ever do for you, you've only got to ask. But
yeah, you too, man. I look forward to catching up with you. I've seen that you were trained. One of the things where I noticed you was you were trained at Combat Group, where I train normally.
Oh wow, you train there? Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah. So it's just right near my house. So I go there most mornings. Barbara there, she's great. She's in Italy at the minute, but yeah, it's a great camp. I think that's going to be opening up soon, because obviously with the COVID thing, it's shut down for the minute. I mean, it's open, but it's not fully functional. But it's a great place. Yes, hopefully I'll see you there. Yeah.
Well, as soon as I get back, I'll be there. You know what I mean? I've been going there for probably about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. 5 years.
Oh, mate. Fantastic. So we'll be training together.
Maybe 6 years, because I had my Army fights when I was 45, so it's 5 years ago. So yeah, it must have been about a year before that. And
fantastic.
And
mate, that'd be great. I'll see you there.
So
I guess sorry, but I was just saying I'll see you there. But I guess we got to hit Walking Street first when you get back, and then go training.
That's if anywhere's open on Walking Street.
Oh, it's open, mate. It's open. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I've got a place in Jontien, so as soon as
you're near me.
Thailand, I'll come back. Unless I have to go to China and work there, I'll have to fly back. So
fantastic, mate.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate your time. It's been great speaking to you, and look forward to catching up with you when I get home.
Brilliant, mate. Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks a lot, man. Bye bye.
Sorry, Cup.